Hello, the doc is in, and welcome back to another chapter of Chainsaw Man, chapter 124, Soup. In the last chapter, if you don't really remember, basically, Falling Devil appears, turns out they're a chef, they start whipping up all your traumas. We get to see another part of Asa's tragic backstory. It's becoming a running theme that her backstory is just absolutely awful. Not awful in like badly written, awful in the wow, like if that happened to me, I'd be depressed forever. But yeah, so she starts falling upwards, and Yoru's trying to convince Asa to get her life together because they're gonna die if she doesn't stop being traumatized. And that's pretty much where we leave off. And so, let's hop into this chapter. So the chapter starts off with Yoru continuing to try to convince Asa to get over all her past traumas and stuff. Obviously that's a lot to ask of someone to do on the spot, especially when they're gonna die. But obviously that's all she can do. And so then Asa's hand slips from the rail she was holding, and then Yoru's like, all right, say what I'm about to say. And so they say nail knife, and then Asa's nail comes off, it turns into a knife, she screams out in pain, and then they fall on the floor, and Yoru takes over, and she's like, okay, seems I was right. Yeah, all right, I'm not gonna go up into hell, we'll get into that, but it doesn't seem like I'm gonna go up into hell because I don't have any past traumas. So as long as I'm in control, we're solid. All right, so you focus on being in pain and I'll be in control for the time being. So that's pretty much the game plan here, right? In the meantime, Yoru starts thinking about the situation. She's basically like, what devil is this? And so she ponders, could it be trauma devil, gravity devil, moon devil, suicide devil by chance? And she's like, no, this feels more like a primal fear, falling by chance. And so she's kind of like, why is the falling devil here right now? It's kind of odd, it can't be a coincidence. And then Asa's kind of standing in this background of the mind, right, because she's not in control of the body at the moment, as she thinks about the cat drowning from last chapter. And then immediately Yoru looks at her in the mind, of course, and is like, slice, cuts her hand, and Asa's like, ow, my hand. And Yoru's like, yeah, keep focusing on all that pain, all right? We don't got time for you to be losing your mind due to trauma. And then they make eye contact, and then immediately Yoru's like, oh shit, it starts running, booking it, and they start going up. But luckily there was a building thing area, I guess a canopy, I'm not sure what it is. Basically it's a protrusion from a building that they fall into, so now they can't go up anymore because they're falling into that, right? And then Asa's back in control, which is why Yoru started running, and basically she's like, you're afraid of me? I'm literally trying to protect your body and trying to save you from dying. Get your shit together, stop being afraid of me, and trust you, how can I, stupid? And she's like, are you gonna call me stupid? All right, I'm trying to help you out. And then Asa basically explains all, you cut my hand, you're kind of insane, of course I'm afraid of you, you're a devil who's trying to fight for my soul, quite literally. And so then Yoru decides to bring it down a little bit and is like, okay, look, all right, you're afraid, the devil's powers literally bring up your past traumas. Obviously, it's creating a lot of stress, but we need you to calm down and think logically here. I should do it because I have the best agility, I move the fastest, whatever, so we can get out of here and survive, all right? I understand you're afraid, but for the best of us, you gotta trust me and kind of calm down and stave off your fears. But Asa then replies is we share a brain, all right? You know what I'm really afraid of. And then we get a real breakdown of Asa's issue. And the issue basically, as she explains, is she has trust issues, but she also doesn't like being lonely. And this comes from every time you've seen her backstory. Every time she trusts somebody, something bad happens afterwards. And even though those things happen, she still doesn't like being alone. And so she puts it simply, solitude and companionship, I'm afraid of both. And so that is why she's in this awkward predicament, kind of, I guess you could say, with Yoru, where it's kind of like she wants, well, I mean, and just in general with her life, like even with Denji, it's like she wants to be with Denji, but she's also afraid to have him around, given there's Yoru who's trying to turn him into a weapon. But like, you know, it creates this weird dichotomy of situations where like she can't really be close to anybody, and she doesn't really want to be far away from people either. She's like up in a paradox situation where she's just suffering constantly, which is why she's having a really hard time with this devil, because like she's just the most traumatized and afraid person that you could ever have, really. And that's kind of that. We leave it at that. Moving on. Devil hunters on the floor, knocked out, possibly dead, probably dead. Cooking devil, falling devil. For the soup course, I present De Route Atlanta. I still don't speak French. A pottage made from the ears and tongue and nose of a devil hunter who tried to hunt me. And then it's served on a plate that's on a human with their eyelids forced open, their mouth sewn shut, and in this weird position. And as we kind of see, the falling devil pushes the person through a door, which we've seen that everybody who kind of like falls upwards and whatever is traumatized, all that stuff, they fall through a door. And now we get to see what's on the other side of the door. It's a giant worm creature who's apparently eating everybody. How fun. And now, more than likely, the guy gets eaten and the soup is also consumed. From there, the fallen devil then follows up with the final course, the main dish, if you would, is almost ready. The name is Asarut Yoru, a human and war devil fusion. End of chapter. Okay, interesting, right? We're setting up stuff. So first off, the worm. Now, there's a lot of options here for what that could be. My thought process would be that this is a devil above the falling devil. But I'm thinking about it again, and I'm like, this could be death. That's one. Another primal fear. That could be two. 3. Maybe it's just, or not a regular devil, but maybe like a slightly stronger devil, but nothing primal necessarily. And for real, the falling devil just likes to be a cook, and so therefore is feeding its customer. Simple as that. There's not anything deeper than that. Like I said, it could kind of go either way, but we now know that the reason why the falling devil showed up was indeed, absolutely, for sure, directly to serve Asa/Yoru, which makes sense for story-wise, like it's just logical. Now, why, we don't really know. Yoru earlier in the chapter ponders about the idea that Feynman has called the falling devil over here to, like, you know, come get her, or kind of similar to like the attorney devil or with the aquarium, where it's like it's kind of supposed to be a test, not directly like an actual attack per se. It's we're in an interesting position here, where we're gonna go from here. Now there could be a Yoru Asa therapy session. Maybe we get her through her traumas, she's able to get back on the ground, they get a weapon and just go absolutely haywire on the falling devil. End of situation, right? Another option, Chainsaw Man pulls up. As I watched a video actually earlier today, can't remember the YouTuber's name, but they did mention the idea that like, what's her name? Can't remember the new Control Devil's name, but the new Control Devil, the little girl, mentions that there's like a very dangerous devil appearing to Denji, and it says like, oh, Chainsaw Man needs to get on that, right? So that does definitely imply that at some point during this entire situation, Chainsaw Man and Yoru will see each other. Whether Chainsaw Man will be the one to save the situation, we don't really know. But for sure, there will be some kind of encounter going on here, because even though Denji hasn't really been brought up this whole time, you would think that like, oh, shouldn't he already be here? Even if he's not here, clearly he's going to come here. There's no reason why he wouldn't show up if his little sister is basically like, you know, you're saving people, right? There's a devil out here, go kill it. So that's kind of it for this chapter, really. I mean, obviously there is like the whole psychological portion of it involving Asa, but one, we can kind of put those things together just based on context clues. This is just the first time it's been like very clearly vocalized that like this is literally Asa's problem. But two, I kind of want this to develop more before we really like dive into it, because we just don't know where this is going necessarily. With like, is it going to be solved right now? Is it going to be solved later? Is this like the whole character arc that we're going on? Like, is that going to be solved to the end of part 2? We don't really know. So for right now, I'll leave it as it is. But it is a nice touch that I kind of explained, like the psychological portion of this, to kind of like give it the same kind of vibe that Denji had. Obviously not the same problems, but give it a similar kind of vibe where it's like, you know, they're not just a pro tag fighting stuff, but they're also like somebody who has a lot of problems that they need to work through, and they're going to work through them while killing devils, because why the hell not? And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all my thoughts for this chapter. Thank you for watching. Let's catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe and watch the videos on the right. Other than that, the doc is out. Bye.